Morning, everybody. I hope you're all well. So today our topic is parenting, and I hope you're all enjoying this beautiful sunny day. First of all, I would like to introduce myself. So Dr. Rhiarne is about to come online. Yes, so I'm Ange, or if you like to call me Anjali, and go up. Health fitness coach and nutrition counselor. So I will check again, except I think Dr. Hello!
Hey.
So welcome. Thank you so much for coming here. You can hear me okay?
I can. You can hear and see me okay?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, thank you everyone for coming here today. And if you can hear us, please give us a thumbs up and we will proceed on. So I just introduced myself, and today we have amazing guest, Dr. Rhiarne, who is the family psychologist. And yes, and you have particular interest in supporting children, teens, emotional regulation difficulties, parenting support, school-based issues, and you also provide extensive support to mothers as they navigate their pregnancy and adjustment to motherhood. And you have 20 years of experience working in psychology and new co-directs your clinic, yeah, and they alongside and your husband with Dr. Mark, and he is, you guys are amazing. I had the privilege to work so closely with you, and couldn't ask for any better person to work together with. It was so beautiful. Yeah, and the practice is and your practice name is the Family Wellbeing Hub in Ashmore, and you have 3 children, and they own and understand the challenges that family life can. They have, so you have written, you have 3 children of your own and understand the challenges that family life can bring. So please help me, everybody, to welcome Dr. Rhiarne. Welcome. Thank you so much for being here today. And before we start, I just wanted to say that our talk is all about to bring awareness and educational and general information in parenting, and not a specific suggestion or advice to anybody particularly. And then, but if you have any questions, please stay till the end of the for our Q&A session with Dr. Rhiarne. Yes. So, would you like to add anything before we proceed or start?
No, that's a very good introduction. Thanks, Ange. And I completely agree. It's not going to be a one size fits all kind of discussion, because the topic of parenting is a very broad topic. Thinking about today, I thought I'll hone in a couple of little snippets, but there's some more specific areas I wanted to reach out and inquire further, or ask further questions at the end. I'm more than happy to help out.
Yeah. Awesome. So we'll jump right in. So what are the biggest challenges that parents can experience with children, with your expertise?
Yeah. I know when I did the sums, 20 years of working now, I don't know where those years have gone. I still feel the new on the block, fresh-eyed. But yes, 20 years of experience working with parents and children. It's been an amazing journey, and I've found I've had many seasons of my work as well, with areas, sometimes more parent-child interaction and the practical skills of bonding and connection, and other times more management, more understanding emotions. So I think putting it all together and reflecting today, I find that probably the themes are the biggest challenges. The first one would be behavioural difficulties, particularly the earlier years, the early primary school years even. So impulse control issues, which can also be a safety concern. Sometimes you've got kids that are just a little bit of extra energetic, like kids I work with, they say that they have a Ferrari engine, they just don't know when to stop sometimes. The impulse control control. It could be the opposition. So the parents are asking their children to, and it's a flat out no, and particularly, 2 and 3-year-olds, that's their choice word. When they learn that word no, they're like finding themselves. But normally they can outgrow that. And when the no's are hanging around a lot more, it gets more challenging and frustrating for parents. And the other one that goes with that, with behavioural difficulties, could be not listening to directions as well. So it's also helping parents navigate that. Another big area probably I'd say is the big emotions. So they're difficult to contain, the children's big emotions. So it could be meltdowns, and they could be in Oscars sometimes, the children with their meltdowns. So sometimes they're from the heart, they're true emotions. Other times they're very staged, and the crocodile tears are coming. They do this kid should be on the screen. There's a level of I used to work in a program where we'd be behind a one-way mirror, and the children would be playing with the parents, and we'd be coaching them as well. Distraction therapy. And I used to find fascinating with the kids that would look into the mirror and make themselves like get the right face and really try. Okay. Hello. Looking at themselves. Big emotions. It could be meltdowns. It could be anxieties as well. That got a very anxious child who could be very inward, or it could be an anxious child that's very behaviorally challenged with that. So it's like the tip of the iceberg. Sometimes what you see with anxiety is a lot of anger and opposition as well. So, and then fears as well. Some kids have really deep-seated fears and phobias, and they do whatever to avoid situations, be it school, be it particular things, fear of dogs. They can't go somewhere because they're so terrified of them. That's whatever they're phobic of. So again, you can see it's very broad, but big emotions is parents are like, please, they're not born with a rule book. Dr. Rhiarne, tell me, what do I do with these big emotions? So I interpret it and figure out what's underlying it, and help approaches. Something that goes with maybe another big challenge would be maybe difficulties with attachment. So parents and children just are out of sync with each other. It could be that, there could have been difficulties bonding early months. It could go back to struggling. There could have been feeding issues that weren't supported adequately. There could have been sleep issues. There's a toll that takes, and sometimes they're out of sync. And it's helping parents over the years get in sync and understand their child and get that, the bond kind of built, and that can happen at any point as well. So just a snapshot of some of the challenges there, Ange.
Yes, it's a lot and it's only few general, right? It's not the big picture, what it's some of the common ones. So if you have just joined in, we have just covered the biggest challenge that the parents might experience with their children, and then we're going to dive into the what often underlying behavioral my accent, behavioral, how do you say it?
Behavioral
issues for children. Thank you.
So often under behaviors, you could have those big emotions I was saying earlier. So you might find that kids struggle to put their big emotions into words. There's often a lag. Say in the early years, between about 4 and 6, you've got kids 4 to 7, and there's still people, and differences outside that too. But often you've got these big emotions developing in children, but their speech skills are kind of lagging behind a little. So they just don't know how to tell their parents or
express it.
How to get the word. So, in order to show what they're feeling, sometimes it could be acting it out, or it could find they might want to find the most harshest words possible. Like, I think we've all at one point, I hate you, things like, oh my God, they hate me after everything I do. How dare you? And I take a step back. They're the most words that your child could find at the time to say, I'm really angry right now. So it's like helping parents understand, you know, and take their emotion out. It's hard. I mean, I've got some of those cutting words at times from my own children, and straight away my instant
Yes.
reaction. But
Yes.
okay, psychologist hat on, I remember this stuff. Why?
Mm.
And the other one
Yes.
underlying is the need for independence, particularly in the early years.
Mm.
But, you know, like the little toddlers, like, no, I want to put my shoes
Mm.
on, and the parents are like, no, get out to the house. We've got to get you to kindy, and I've got to get to work.
Mm.
But they need the time, and they want to be able to do it themselves. And you all the time, like, oh, I really want to go faster, but they want to do it. And they're asserting themselves. So that's another big one. And a line I often use, another point, is any attention can be good attention. So with their behaviours could be negative, and they think, oh, well, do whatever it takes to get mum and dad's attention, even if it's playing the naughty role. That's how they're trying to get their cup filled, by doing what it takes. And it becomes a negative cycle, like, oh, well, I've got to pay off from this, or I felt like I was in control of things and I got mum and dad to stop what they were doing. Me, I'll keep it going, and it can reward the cycle. And another one we often don't think about with behavioural issues for children, and it's not always the case, but it could be like being a family therapist as well. I find that I've got that broader lens to think there can be the relationship strain between parents. So some stress within the family, mum and dad united, as maybe as ideal as possible, that kids are doing what it takes to bring parents back together again. So I found some children's anxiety even, I've found, can be a way of making mum and dad bond, and the one time that they really could be from that. So that's explanations. What can be underlying it?
Because it's like it's, as much as we are focusing in children, it's so much for us parents to learn as well, isn't it? To understand that how children, you know, like starting to play the big person role to bring people together. And we don't give them enough credit some days, I feel like, isn't it?
Oh, they're wise little beings. The things I've heard in my clinic room from some of the kids sometimes, I'm like, they could change the world with their thoughts right now. They've got such a good take.
Yes, it's incredible. So it's a good lesson. It's great that, you know, how you know, opening eyes to parents, not just focusing in children, how we can, you know, fix the children, but at the same time, it's so much to do as a family as well.
That's right, Ange. And some the struggle as a psychologist, who, you know, being family therapist, I don't go into that fix my child, I'll just drop him off for the hour and you work with. Sometimes there's a need for that, but most of the time I'm like, this is a family effort. We all have to pitch in and do bits.
Absolutely. Yes. That's and that's amazing. So okay, so we have covered the challenges and underlying behavioral. Oh, I can't say this word. It's my Nepalese accent coming out. Behavioral. I'm sorry. Okay. Dr. Rhiarne got my back. Thank you. So what type of support can psychologists can provide to parents?
I do find, you know, and if people do their research, every psychologist has a different approach, I suppose. You know, a general approach where we all have a beautiful offering in our field, but you can get very more pure child focused, where it's more one-on-one. And like I said earlier, I'm very family focused, and that's something that's brought over the years of working. So I find that I might, in my support, I might focus more on the parents in the early stages to skill them. Say, look, the skills I'm going to be using with your child in session, if they're old enough to have one, I will be coaching you. So, because you're the one with them 24/7, I'm not, you know. So helping them find the lingo of, you know, how to talk with their child and the wording. Like some parents say, I had Dr. Rhiarne on my shoulder, and okay, what would Rhiarne say right now with this meltdown? And they kind of get into it. I find, you know, skills of supporting their children's emotions through a topic, what we call emotion coaching. So children to understand their feelings with a variety of play-based activities, drawing,
yes,
acting it out, understanding the clues, what happens in our body, foreign to them. And then for the parent, I'd be then coaching them. So wording like, you know, little Johnny, I see you're really frustrated right now because you wanted to turn. Wonder, okay, what should we do about that? How can I help? Let's figure this out. So it's like coming down to their level, but labeling the feeling. And sometimes it could be, Johnny, is that the right feeling? Did I use the right feelings when they're like, no. Oh, okay, cross. All right. And it's making you do this. So you help them understand it in their body. Emotion coaching skill is just so powerful. I've found that once parents get that, and once parents are good in their feelings, that really brings down a lot of behaviors and challenges with that. You know, it's quite powerful. And as I go through, you know, we're understanding feelings, and I'd be helping the parents with skills to coach their children, like, you know, things like self-regulation, like I said, as well, problem solving, identifying, let's be a detective right now, what's happening in the body, thinking strategies, how could we think more helpful in this situation, you know, rather than black and white, all or nothing. It's a bad day. Oh, okay. But perhaps, you know, if we focus on all the good things, this one thing was a struggle. I get that. So helping them get some positive thinking strategies. Something I like to work with parents, and I think it's becoming more of a thing in this era of parenting, because we all want to do the best job as parents.
Absolutely, yes.
A generation of parents, and I know I'm among my own children. You feel all these ideals and, you know, books. I don't want to be one of those experts that give that gold standard, because I don't get it right 100% of the time, I tell you. But, you know, making sure that we're not that helicopter lawnmower kind of parent, like, oh, it's all, I can see that ahead. That's going to be a potential obstacle. So let me, unless it's a safety hazard, of course, but, you know, have to let children have some struggles, and know that there will be the ups and downs and the bumps in the road.
Yes, let them,
That's the
let the kids figure it out sometimes by themselves, right?
Yeah, exactly. And not fix straight away, like, the tower's over, let me rebuild it, quick, hold on, no, don't have the meltdown, I'll rebuild it for you. The other side of it, sometimes it could be challenging the child, which isn't going to be helpful either. Like, how can you be tired? That just isn't possible, you know, like trying to get the child out of their feeling. It can go the other way of cutting off the emotional connection.
Yes. I think it's while you're coaching, you know, the parents how to cue or they learn about the children's emotion. I think parents themselves, lots of times ourselves, we don't know, right? We don't know our own, you know, we don't know. When someone asks, how are you today? What do you mean, how are you today? We just say, I'm fine. It's like, truly, how are you? And then they start bawling their eyes out. You know, so when that happens, it's like, my friend, she said that, you know, that was the example. She checked on somebody and they said, no, I'm fine. And then later on, they said, you know, they're bawling their eyes out. So it's like, I think that helps the parents to, so when they feel this way, this is, you know, I think it's so much helpful for parents as well to understand their childhood as well, if they haven't been to, you know, support for themselves.
That's right. And I find becoming parents, you know, a lot of people are doing their own self-reflections on, you know, their upbringing, their as human beings themselves. You know, sometimes we're gifted the children that push our buttons the most. And it's like, child's been brought along to help me learn something about myself or strengthen up a certain area.
Like, because when we missed out on something, so we try to push our kids, you know. For me, we didn't get to do any sports because we were girls, right, back home. And then now, and I'm like, oh, you have so much opportunity and you're not taking it, and it's so natural for me to push my kids for all this opportunity they have, but they don't want to do it.
Yeah.
And it's like, frustrating for me. But then I had to realize that, it's because they never been to where I've been, and they don't know any different.
Yeah.
So I had to.
Yeah. It's like the old parenting thing. There's starving kids in Africa. Eat your dinner, and the children
Yes.
don't want to eat it. It doesn't.
And then they get into overeating habit, right? And that's so I stopped doing that because I realized that maybe that is what triggering them to force feed and feel sick, and then the hunger cues, their body doesn't know what the hunger cues are. So
that's right.
so I stopped doing that. Yes. If you guys are new, just joined in, welcome. We have a wonderful Dr. Rhiarne here today. And so we just did the support from psychologist for the parents. And the next one would be so positive parenting practices. I think we had a little bit of touch on that.
Yeah.
So what can be most helpful for the positive parenting practices?
Yeah, just to carry on from what was saying, and it's that emotional connection. So the positive side of things, I think, really brings down a lot of struggles already there. Like I say to parents, sequentially, let's focus on the positive side of things. Let's get the emotional connection and attunement right. It's like getting a good slab down on a house. You're not going to build unless you've got a really good slab put down. So the foundations, and then starting to build that parent-child relationship, because this will carry into the teenage years. I know we're focused on younger years today because teenagehood is a whole different ball game. But if we get this right, open communication, teenage years, they'll navigate that a lot more smoothly. And then what's left is we can then focus on more behavior management strategies if needed, but not jump that too soon and early, like timeout and Super Nanny. When that was on TV a while back, I used to cringe watching. It was just, I used to scream at the TV almost, like some of the, I'm like, where's the emotional connection? Like you don't just demand an apology from your child straight away when they're in a heightened, anxious, just happened, anyway, that's a whole nother episode, Ange.
Yes.
But we have to have some supported time in strategies. Okay, you're getting hot on the thermometer now. Your anger's up at that 5. This is the no-go zone. We can't talk right now. Let's calm it down. Let's each let's go to your room. You take some calm time. Normally with the child, I have a calm down menu of options. We call it the calm down cafe. What are they going to do to calm down? Might be deep playing Lego. And then they talk once they've calmed down enough. There could be consequences. There could be a removal of privileges. Tech time's one of them. And also marble reward jars can work really well. So positive focus whenever they see a task, be it sharing with siblings, they get a marble and he builds up his marble jar for the week, and he might even bring it in sometimes very proud to session, like, Dr. Rhiarne, my jar's full. So
my jar's full.
I'm like, yay.
Yeah, awesome. So that was the triple P for the helpful suggestions for our parents.
Program well known, 1, 2, 3 Magic. There's even the highly sensitive child parenting book as well is really good for those more children that feel really deeply as well. So there's a couple of good.
Awesome. So our last, not the least, is so do you have extra learning now that you are parents yourself? So more insights for us?
It's funny, when I became a parent myself, I'm like, oh, I've got this, I've got a PhD in psychology. Yes, no worries. worked with kids before. Whoa, I had to go back to the beginning.
Yes.
I had that pressure, you know, and people are like, oh, you'll get it right. And 2 psychologist parents at that. So I felt like the pressure was on. But I just, I just was up front, like, oh, I'm struggling, or I don't get this. And I, you know, in my network, like any wisdom, anything that you could share. So you've got to be making sure, as for learnings, you know, making sure you take the pressure off yourself, go easy on yourselves. Some days are better than others. And there's no gold standard. Like I said, parenting strategies, there might be suggestions, but they're not going to work 100% of the time. Sometimes the children just outsmart you because they're a wise little being and they know how to push your buttons. Or they're so big, you know. It takes a lot more work, so just be ready for that. And also, you know, family life gets busy and chaotic at times, and I think make fun and spontaneity and use a sense of humor. You know, like sometimes I talk rolled out of a little tiz, you know, like, oh, those feet are angry right now. If they could talk, saying as away. And he's like, I know what you're doing to me, Mum.
Oh, yes, my kid says the same. I know what you're doing. And I'm like, oh, because you're pressing the button. So I have to, like, it's my natural instinct that I feel like, not manipulate as such, but, you know, like, I feel like doing those old strategy because you're not listening.
Yeah.
He was like, oh, okay. So, but anyway, those are things, right?
Yeah.
And so if anyone have questions to Dr. Rhiarne as we're coming to end of our session, please comment down below, or and so while we wait, please, Dr. Rhiarne, let us know where we can find you and Dr. Mark.
Yeah, so we've got our clinic, the Family Wellbeing Hub in Ashmore on the Gold Coast, and Mark specialises more in the teenager, adult psychology, and a big offering recently into more, you know, the couples work as well. So sometimes I might be working with a child, he works with the parents on more strengthening their relationship. And yeah, and I work with children, teens, and adults as well. I love working with all age groups. I work lifespans. So yeah, feel free
mothers
to and
support them into
yes.
Did you say pregnancy and postnatal?
Yeah, leading up to the birth, you know, there might be some things they need to talk through, and also adjustment to parenthood. That work is just pressure off their shoulders, that they're feeling like they've got to get it right 100% of the time. You know.
Yeah. So I will put Dr. Rhiarne's not contact details, but all the details that you can DM or, you know, visit the website details as well. So, you know, people, you guys can go and check it out. And thank you so much for being here today, everybody. Thank you so much. And Dr. Rhiarne, we truly appreciate, you know, you being here and your time. We absolutely adore you and Dr. Mark, and your space so beautiful to work at and read and work with. We're just about to leave, everyone. Thank you so much for being here today. And I will see you soon, Dr. Rhiarne.
Look forward to it, Ange. Thanks so much again.
Thank you. Bye. Bye, everybody.
Everyone.
Thank you for being here.